Hello and welcome back to the Hazzabhajan YouTube channel. It is Harry here, and today it is time for the second installment of the G segment of my football alphabet series, in which I profile various players and clubs whose names or surnames begin with a particular letter. And as mentioned, it is the turn of the best players or people associated with football whose surnames begin with the letter G. If you want to check out the clubs episode, or indeed any other episode in this series thus far, there would be a players link in the description or at the end of this video for you to watch them all, or some of them, but preferably all of them, it'd be quite nice. And whilst you're there, of course, please don't forget, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. But without any further ado, here is my Hall of Fame of 5 of the best players whose surnames begin with the letter G. Number 1. Pep Guardiola. It feels right to kickstart this list with one of the few people to have been at the very top for over a decade in both their playing and managerial careers, that being, of course, the bald fraud himself, Pep Guardiola. Born in 1971, he joined Barcelona's youth team at the age of 13, and after making his way through the C and B teams, he made his debut for the senior side in 1990. He actually began his career as a right midfielder, but after manager Johan Cruyff saw him in action in a B team game, he instructed the youth team coach to move Guardiola into the pivot role and use him as a deep-lying playmaker. The Spaniard flourished in his new position and went on to become the anchor for Barcelona's dream team, embodying the Dutchman's total football ideology with his vision, range of passing and ability to break up play and shield the back line. Over the next 11 years, Guardiola would win 9 major honours, including 6 La Liga titles and the European Cup in 1992, and become club captain in 1997, featuring 382 times for the Catalan Giants in all. In 2001, he announced his intentions to leave his boyhood club at the end of the season to seek a new challenge, and after stints at Brescia, Roma, Al Ahly in Qatar and Dorados in Mexico, as well as a trial at Manchester City in 2005, he retired in 2006. Immediately, he moved into coaching, and after winning promotion from the Tercera division in 2007-08 as Barca B boss, Guardiola was appointed the new manager of the senior team upon Frank Rijkaard's 2008 departure, ahead of Jose Mourinho. His changes were wholesale, selling stars like Ronaldinho and Deco, buying Gerard Piqué and Dani Alves, and promoting players like Sergio Busquets and Pedro from La Masia, as well as implementing a 4-3-3 formation, with Busquets playing the role that Guardiola had fulfilled during his own career, and putting a heavy focus on a young Argentine called Lionel Messi. To say those changes worked would be an understatement, as Barcelona won every trophy on offer to them in 2009, 6 in all, before backing up that stellar year with 2 more La Liga titles, another Champions League success in 2011, and a Copa del Rey in 2012. Those stats only tell half the story though, as the way Barcelona controlled games with their fluid passing game, high pressing and lethal attacks made them such a joy to watch, and, arguably, the greatest club side of all time. However, after a mentally draining 2011-12 season in which Mourinho's Real beat them to the league title, and they were cruelly eliminated in the semi-finals of the Champions League by Chelsea, Guardiola decided to depart the club and take a sabbatical year. Midway through it, he was confirmed as Bayern Munich's new manager from the 2013-14 season onwards, where he once again saw immense success with his ideas and principles, winning 3 Bundesliga titles, each of them at a canter, and 2 DFB Pokals. His failure to win the Champions League, though, was a black mark on his CV and a stick which people used to beat him with, but it didn't put Manchester City off deciding to replace Manuel Pellegrini with the Spaniard from the 2016-17 campaign. With many pundits saying his style wouldn't work in the Premier League and that he would have to adapt, Guardiola stoically stuck to his guns, and after a difficult debut campaign, he became the first man to notch out 100 points in a single English top-flight season in 2017-18. A domestic treble, the first of its kind by any men's team in England, followed in 2018-19, and in the years since, he has won 2 more league titles and 2 more league cups, but the Champions League has continued to elude him. Maybe this season, the last on his current contract at City, is the one. Number 2. Boaz Goodman. Moving on from one of the most successful managers of modern times, we now turn our attention to one of the most enigmatic managers of all time, by the name of Boaz Goodman. Born in 1899 into a Jewish family, Goodman rose to prominence at MTK as a centre-half, winning 2 league titles, before moving to Hakoah Wien in 1922 to escape the rising tide of anti-Semitism in Hungary, where he won another league title in 1925. He spent the rest of his playing days in either America or Austria, retiring in 1933 back at Hakoah Wien, and like Guardiola, he immediately turned to management, becoming the manager of Hakoah straight away, where he spent 2 years. This would become a common theme throughout Goodman's time in the dugout, as he only stayed at the club for more than 2 years once, believing the third season to be fatal. This meant that, over the course of 40 years as a manager, Goodman took charge of 24 different teams in 10 countries, as far ranging as Cyprus, Brazil, Portugal, Uruguay, and Italy. However, he very nearly didn't have the illustrious management career that he would go on to enjoy, as during World War II he was captured by the Nazis and sent to a torture camp, but he escaped in December 1934, just before he was due to be sent off to Auschwitz, a place where his wider family, father and sister were all heinously murdered. He was the only one of his family to survive the war. As a coach, he introduced the 4-2-4 formation to the wider footballing conscience, most notably in Brazil, where it was implemented for the 1958 World Cup, which they went on to win. He demanded his players stuck to strict diets and training regimes, demanding nothing but the best from his cohorts, and he was notoriously abrasive. His two most high-profile jobs, which I think are worth discussing in a tiny bit of detail, came at AC Milan and Benfica. At the former, he was stunningly sacked with his side top of the table 19 games through his second season after falling out with the board, telling the press afterwards, "I have been sacked even though I am neither a criminal nor a homosexual. Goodbye." In fact, at every future club that Goodman would take charge of, he made sure that a clause was inserted into his contract that ensured that he wouldn't be sacked if his side sat atop the league table. At the latter, whom he moved to from rivals Porto no less, he sacked 20 players upon arrival, promoted a whole host of youth players, including Eusebio in 1961, and won 2 league titles and 2 European Cups, with Benfica becoming the first team not called Real Madrid to win the European Cup. However, upon their 1962 European Cup success, he asked for a pay rise from the board, which was rejected, and Goodman left, stating that Benfica wouldn't be champions of Europe again for 100 years. To date, that has held up, as Benfica have reached 5 European Cup finals and 3 UEFA Cup/Europa League finals in the 60 years since, and lost them all. A perhaps unwanted enduring legacy for the Hungarian, who sadly passed away in 1981, aged 82. Number 3. Jimmy Greaves. England's long line of centre-forwards is legendary, ranging from Dixie Dean and Tommy Lawton to Alan Shearer and Harry Kane, but perhaps none have been better than Jimmy Greaves, even though his playing career was pretty much over before he'd even turned 30. Born in 1940, Greaves joined Chelsea's youth ranks at 15, making his debut for them in 1957, and with a goal in that game, he established himself as a star in the making. He was Chelsea's top scorer in each of his 4 seasons at Stamford Bridge, with 22, 37, 30 and 43 goals in all competitions in those respective campaigns, and he had netted 100 league goals prior to turning 21. However, Chelsea's consistently poor league finishes led to Greaves growing frustrated, and in need of cash, the club sold him to AC Milan in 1961. He struggled to adapt to Serie A in spite of scoring 9 goals in 12 games for the club, and returned to England in December 1961 with Spurs for a fee of £99,999, since manager Bill Nicholson didn't want him shackled with the burden of being the first £100,000 player. A pacey striker blessed with incredible ability on the ball, Greaves was capable of scoring just about any type of goal with his excellent positional awareness and deft movement to create space for himself. He brought all of those skills to the forefront at Spurs, where, over the course of the next 7.5 years, he scored 257 goals in all competitions, winning 2 FA Cups and a European Cup Winners' Cup whilst at White Hart Lane. Between 1961 and 1969, his lowest scoring season saw him notch up a still fairly respectable 16 goals, and his best came in 1962-63 when he struck 44 times. He broke several records during his career, including the all-time top goalscorer in England's top flight with 357, which he still maintains to this day, the record goalscorer in each of Europe's top 5 leagues combined with 366, which Cristiano Ronaldo only surpassed in 2017, and Spurs' all-time top goalscorer with 268 goals, although Harry Kane is only 15 behind him as of the time of this recording. He also netted 44 goals in 57 games for England, although an injury midway through the 1966 World Cup paved the way for Geoff Hurst to take his place for the final few games. This, of course, included the final where Hurst scored a hat-trick, and Greaves wouldn't actually receive a winner's medal until 2009, or even so much as an honour from the Queen until 2021, the year that he died at the age of 81. However, in 1969, fitness issues caught up with him and he was dropped from Spurs' starting lineup, moving to West Ham in 1970. There, he lost all motivation to play, believing he would become nothing more than a journeyman, and sadly began to struggle with alcoholism and weight issues, leading to his premature retirement in 1971. He had thankfully kicked his addictions by the 1980s and went on to have a successful career in broadcasting, especially alongside his partner in crime Ian St John from 1985 to 1992 with the hit show Saint and Greavesy, which was sadly cancelled just before the Premier League era owing to its overwhelmingly light-hearted approach not being in line with how the Premier League wants to market itself. Shame really. Number 4. Gran. Since I featured two parts of the Gran or Lee Trident, namely Gunnar Nordahl and Niels Lidholm, in the N and L videos of this series, it makes sense to include the other member, Gunnar Gran, for the G video. So that's what I've done. Born in 1920, Gran began at Garda BK before moving to Swedish powerhouses AFK Göteborg in 1940, where he scored no fewer than 79 goals across 9 years and won one league title. Capable of playing anywhere across the spine of a forward line, Gran was at his best in attacking midfield, primarily operating as a mezzala, with his vision, technical ability and keen eye for goal making him an extremely gifted attacking all-rounder. After helping Sweden pick up an Olympic gold medal in 1948 alongside Nordahl and Lidholm, he moved to AC Milan the year after, joining his two famous compatriots. He could only guide the club to one league title in his 4 years there, but he was adored by the Milan fans, who nicknamed him Il Professore for his intelligence on the pitch. After spells at Genoa and Fiorentina, he moved back to his homeland in 1956 and helped his national team reach the final of the 1958 World Cup, which Sweden hosted, being named in the all-star team of the tournament to boot, despite being the oldest player at the finals, aged 37. Although he officially retired in 1959, he returned in 1963 for Gais as player manager and made 22 appearances for the club, one of 8 Swedish teams he would be manager of at some stage. He made one last appearance at the age of 56 for regional side IK Oddefold before finally calling it quits for good, and in 1991, aged 71, he passed away. Number 5. Huey Gallagher. So originally for this spot I had Ryan Giggs, but considering his recent trials and tribulations, I thought it best to remove him from this list and replace him with another person from years gone by in the form of Huey Gallagher, because clearly I am a hipster. Born in 1903, Gallagher started out at newly formed Queen of the South, where he established himself as a star in the making with 19 goals in just 9 games, albeit he did also have to contend with a serious bout of pneumonia, which doctors said may lead to him never playing football again. He moved to Airdrie in 1921, where he maintained his absurd goal-scoring numbers, notching up 100 in 129 games for the club over the next 4.5 years, and helping them win a Scottish Cup in 1924, the only major trophy in the club's history. A diminutive forward of just 5'5" inches, Gallagher was lightning quick and agile on the ball, with a win-at-all-costs mentality and an eye for a pass, which helped him set up countless other goals for his teammates, in addition to the nearly 500 goals that he scored at club level. He even survived an assassination attempt in Ireland after scoring 3 times against them in 14 minutes for Scotland, when a sniper bullet missed him and hit a wall yards from where he was. He later quipped, "It seems I still haven't managed to teach the Irish how to shoot straight." In December 1925, Airdrie accepted a £6,500 offer from Newcastle for Gallagher, and in spite of fans threatening to burn down a stand at the club's stadium if he was sold, allegedly of course, Gallagher got his way and moved to England. Within 18 months, he'd been made club captain, scored 59 league goals, and guided Newcastle to their most recent league title to date in 1927. In all, he would bag 143 goals in 174 games for the Magpies, but in 1930, after angling him for a move for more than a year, he finally got his way and moved south to join Chelsea, where he scored 81 goals in 144 games. His popularity on Tyneside remained high in spite of his departure, to such an extent that when Chelsea came to St James's Park in 1931, just after Gallagher had joined them, 68,386 people crammed into the stadium to watch their hero's return, and to this day, that remains Newcastle's record attendance. Upon leaving Chelsea in 1934, he had spells at Derby, Notts County, Grimsby and Gateshead before retiring in 1939. However, he had money issues throughout his life brought on by reckless spending and an addiction to alcohol, even using his sign-on fee from Derby in 1934 to pay the bankruptcy court. Upon retirement, he took up many different jobs in order to make ends meet, including being a journalist in the North East, but in 1950, tragedy struck when his wife Hannah suddenly died. Gallagher struggled to recover mentally, once again turning to alcohol to help him cope, and in 1957, a domestic row led to him throwing an ashtray which hit his son in the face and drew blood. With another court case looming, Gallagher admitted he simply couldn't take living with the regret of hitting his son anymore, and the day before he was due to appear at the magistrate's court, he walked in front of an oncoming express train. He was just 54. And on that rather somber note, that just about wraps up today's video looking at 5 of the best players whose surnames begin with the letter G. If you think I missed any else, let me know which ones down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, of course, please don't forget, please like it and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Ring the notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a video straight away. Check out all the other episodes that I've done in the Football Alphabet series using the playlist link either on screen or in the description. And why not follow me on Twitter at Hazzabhajan. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you then.